What's up and welcome to another episode of Football Everyday brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. My name is Nelsen and joining me in the studio today once again my bro, Ian Yee. What's up? Bro, we saw some really great football again over the weekend. Did you enjoy your football?
Oh, great football. I'm not too sure about great football. I think it was okay. It was not too bad. It was one of the more uneventful weeks in the Premier League for me, which is something I wrote about. There wasn't too much drama. Everything was quite routine. I think I heard even I didn't watch the match, but Arsenal-Chelsea, they said it was a pretty drab game, right?
Yeah.
It's just a drop was the difference. So I'm not too sure it was a great weekend, but United won, so I'm happy.
Right. So
Yeah.
Was that your stand-up moment then? United winning?
It was a weird game for all the penalties. I thought at least two of them weren't really penalties. I think the Rooney one probably wasn't a penalty. It's a bit soft. But you can't blame the referee for giving those. If you swipe the player's feet from under him, then that's a penalty. And the Vidic penalty.
Yeah.
Even the Portsmouth players, were thinking, what's going on.
Yeah. But bro, before we talk about United, we mentioned Chelsea, bro, and I think the stand-up moment for me would have been their 3-0 win at the Emirates over Arsenal. After that performance, for me at least, Chelsea certainly looked like the team to beat now. I'm sure you'd agree, right?
Yeah, kind of. Before, in last week's episode, we were talking about this, and we were saying how Chelsea has all their toughest fixtures ahead of them. They're going away to all the big four teams, and this was their first test away from home to Arsenal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like their first test, so it's hard to tell. Then they still have Man City away and at home now. They still have United, Liverpool, and all that away from home. So it remains to be seen, but they've passed their first big test pretty well so far. Obviously, Van Persie's placenta treatment didn't go well. Apparently, it seems to have made it worse because now they're saying that he'll be out for about 5 months.
Wow.
At first, it was 6 weeks, and
Now
after he went
months.
for that placenta rubbing thingy,
All right, bro, you mentioned Drogba as well. You think United should go and get Drogba? I'm just joking. Yeah. But I mean, bro, that's Chelsea for you, But I got to ask you this about Arsenal, man. It seems that time and time again, when we big Arsenal up, and after a great run, it looks as when it looks as though they can be taken seriously, they just somehow contrive to, screw up again, right? I mean, they lose to Sunderland, and now they lose rather embarrassingly to Chelsea at home.
Yeah, I think they've been unlucky because losing Van Persie is a big blow, and in a friendly, on international duty. So that was a big blow for me. It's like maybe Chelsea losing Drogba. You'll expect them to drop a game against another big four opponent. If they had lost Drogba or somebody like Lampard.
Yeah.
So yeah. I feel for Arsene Wenger. I do. It's kind of funny because you always have this impression of Arsenal that way. But when it comes to United, everybody think, when they lose, they bounce back. But Arsenal tend to do that as well. They lose their way maybe for a match or two, but they go on. Last season they did that. They had that long unbeaten run. So who knows? They might do it this time as well.
Right. Hopefully it'll start tonight in the League Cup. Coming up in the week, they face, I think, Stoke at the weekend as well. But yeah, bro, okay, let's move on, to Goodison Park, where Liverpool finally got back to winning ways by beating Merseyside rivals Everton, 2-0. Bro, did they really impress you, or do you think Rafa Benitez's men just had that extra bit of luck on the night? I mean, we saw the goals, right? Yeah,
it was pretty lucky. I think it was a lucky win because when I was watching Everton playing against United as well, I saw that there was genuine promise in their lineup.
Yeah.
They have the players to trouble even the best defenses, people like Yakubu,
Cahill,
Saha,
PNR,
Joe,
Fellaini. Yeah.
Fellaini can be trouble for any defender in the world. So they caused a lot of trouble, but again, it was a quality lacking in the final third, I guess. They really need Saha to be on the pitch more. They need him to get him fit and to have a good run of games to get his sharpness. And I think they should be fine. But they were unfortunate to lose.
Yeah. I mean, but more importantly then, bro, can you see Rafa's men truly building on this win, or will their troubles, still kind of be there?
I think they will. But it'll be a bit too late because I think when Torres gets back and you get Aquilani back, Aquilani is a fantastic. For me, some people have some doubts over Aquilani, but I've seen him play. Yeah, he's a fantastic player. He plays a bit like Alonso, just a bit softer, a bit less physical. But you got Mascherano for that, so.
Right, great stuff, man. And very quickly, just before our first break here, what are your thoughts on Manchester City's 7th straight draw? I mean, surely they've got to beat teams like Hull City at home, right? I mean, if they want to have big top 4 ambitions, right?
Yeah, they do. There's nothing more.
I mean, I think everyone's expecting kind of an avalanche, so to speak, for them to bounce back and beat Hull 3 or 4-0 or something, and it didn't happen, man.
Yeah. I think Robinho will be the difference.
Yeah,
when he comes
once
back,
he comes back,
he'll be turning a lot of these draws into wins. They've been doing well on the Marquis, I think. To get on these draws, to be so consistent in a way, in the Premier League is not
that's a way
easy.
to put it, yeah.
But when you get a bit that extra bit of magic from Robinho, then you'll be starting to start to turn these draws into wins, especially when you get the chemistry going with the players. So.
All right, but I mean, over to Hull, bro. I mean, how big is Jimmy Bullard for you, man?
Huge.
They missed him last season,
yeah,
right?
he needs to be at a bigger club, I think. Because last season Hull looked to be on the up, you know.
Yeah.
When they got Jimmy Bullard, everybody's like, you know,
yeah, he
they're
played like 1 or 2 games
places.
and they got injured for them.
Yeah, so he is a really top class player.
I gotta ask you as well, what did you think of his celebration, man? Did you catch it? Yeah,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
At first I was thinking, oh no, is that a good idea? But,
yeah,
okay.
kind of
They were
reenacted
having fun, yeah.
Phil Brown. Yeah, I mean, I think our mate Shebs said on, I think, ESPN last week that, you know, he thinks that could really be the moment that turns Hull season around. I mean, when the minute Phil Brown did that last season, the season like went all the way down, right? And now, you know.
Yeah, I think it's good that they're kind of like
exercising
exercising the ghost from that season, you know, from that infamous incident. So they're like learning to accept it, you know, move on, have a laugh about it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you know, now let's forget about it. And you know, that I think it shows how strong the team is together and how the manager, you know, has above the players that they can joke about something like that.
All right, great stuff, man. Hopefully it bodes well for Hull City, Jimmy Bullard and all. But it is time for our first break here on Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. We'll be right back with more football chat and banter in segment 2 coming up next, so stay tuned. Nice one. Welcome back to Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts with me, Nelsen, of course, my bro Ian Yee. Bro, I mean, we were talking about the weekend's results, of course, and we mentioned United earlier on. So let's take a proper look at United now. You know, I mean, they beat Portsmouth at Fratton Park 4-1, thanks to a Wayne Rooney hat-trick, bro, in Avram Grant's first game in charge, you know, back in the EPL. We said it before early in the season, right, that if Rooney were to get injured for United, I think we could see them kind of struggling, you know. So you think he proved the point in this one with the hat-trick, although it was, you know, 2 penalties, bro?
Yeah, I mean, this game wasn't a really good example of that, but we've seen in the past how Rooney's presence in the team, I guess even for the national team in England. But on this performance, the performance of the last few weeks, I don't think so. Rooney hasn't been playing too well. He's been misplacing passes, you know, he's been trying stuff that just, you know, it's not working out, you know. He's been getting goals here and there, but it's just not cutting it for me. He just hasn't reached the level of players like Messi, Ronaldo, Kaká.
Yeah.
It's just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I mean, bro, you know, credit to him for the hat-trick, you know, converting the penalties and all, but a large part would go to the evergreen Ryan Giggs as well, right? So were you impressed with Giggs' performance on the night, bro?
Not really, not exactly convinced that, I mean, this is a long-term solution, you know. They still need to go out and get some younger talent. He's kind of like the opposite of Rooney at the moment, and so it's kind of balancing out. Rooney tries to do everything, you know. He tries to run everywhere. You
Giggs
know.
just does what's
Giggs is
necessary,
economical,
right?
you know. In the final third, you know, if there's a through ball to be made, if there's a cross to be made, you know, he gets the assist, you know. He gets it done. So it's kind of working out for now, but you know, who knows how long this can go on. You know, I'm not too pleased that, you know, that we're relying on the two of them. I think we should have more players than that. We should have
all round, right? Yeah. Okay, bro. I mean, moving on to Portsmouth, I mean, got to ask you if you believe that a certain Avram Grant is the right man to keep Portsmouth up in the Premier League, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I really do think he is, especially, you know, the performance was pretty good. I think Dindan and Piquion up front were very good, caused a lot of problems to Brown and Vidic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, they were just unfortunate, you know, by giving away the silly penalty, and the Rooney penalty was a bit soft, so they were just a bit unfortunate. They couldn't take their chances, and that's where players like, of course, like you mentioned, Rooney and Giggs come in. You know, just a bit extra quality. Though, like, even though I mentioned that, you know, they're not up there with some world-class superstars yet, for Rooney, in Rooney's case, but that was the difference
in class did show.
That was the difference
at the end of the day, right, bro? All right, time now to get into our email of the week, which comes from Jamal, who's a big United fan, you know, coincidentally. Bro, from what Jamal has seen, he feels that Nani will be on his way out of Old Trafford real soon, you know, and Gabriel Obertan looks a much more convincing replacement in the long term.
Yeah.
As a fellow Devils fan, would you agree with Jamal?
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of like Nani. You know, when he first arrived, I saw him play a bit for Portugal.
He scored a couple of spectacular
really
goals.
spectacular
You've got to give it to him, right?
Yeah. I thought he could be a replacement for Giggs. You know, low center of gravity. You know, he strikes the ball really cleanly. He has a good dribbling ability. But I guess it's just a matter of attitude sometimes.
And decision making as well.
Yeah, decision making. You know, I think these are things you learn if you have the right attitude. You know, and you give your coaches a chance. You know, your teammates a chance to tell you. You learn from people like Giggs, who's so efficient in what he does.
Yep.
So you can't tell me that you train in the same position as Ryan Giggs week in, week out, and you can't learn. So it has to be something with his attitude, and unfortunately, it's not going to work anymore. I don't think so.
Yeah, great thoughts there, bro. I mean, thanks for the wonderful email, Jamal. You know, for your efforts, you've picked up a prize courtesy of Adidas. We'll be in touch real soon with you know, prize collection details. And in the meantime, if you'd like to write to us, just like Jamal did, please drop a line to football@thestar.com.my. Right, moving on, just before the break, we've got a bit of time, bro. Quick mention on Aston Villa versus Tottenham, bro. 1-1. You know, we said that Spurs, you know, had the potential to win at Villa Park, but you know, they contrived to draw. Well, they did come back from a goal down, bro. I mean, not much to separate the two, right?
Yeah.
Villa and Spurs.
Like I mentioned last week, it's all about consistency when it comes to Tottenham. If they can produce their goods, you know, week in, week out, they'd be a really top team. And they lost early this morning, I think, to United, right?
Yeah, by 2-0. Yeah.
And United basically fielded the junior team.
Yeah.
So they just can't get any consistency going on. And I think Jermaine Defoe is the best reflection of the whole squad, of the team as a whole. I mean, he's capable of some amazing things, and he has the quality, but it's just his consistency.
Right. A quick one on Villa. Do you think they're going to be up there come the end of the season?
Definitely not for a top 4 spot.
No,
I don't think so.
All right, good stuff, man. But it's time for our second break here on Football Everyday, brought to you by Maybank Premier Accounts. But Ian and I will be right back with loads of football chat, and we're taking a look at this weekend's fixtures. So stay tuned to Football Everyday. And you're back with us here on the third and final segment of today's show. This is, of course, the segment where we dissect the upcoming fixtures this weekend, the tasty ones, of course. Bro, so let's start with United again, who travelled to West Ham. Ian, Fergie's men won quite easily against Portsmouth, we've got to admit, right? So surely they can be expected to win this one as well. I mean, it's West Ham. No disrespect, but yeah.
I'm not too sure. Away from home, and you know, West Ham have some good players.
Yeah.
Carlton Cole, you know, he causes a lot of trouble to defenses.
Who has actually coincidentally been rumored to, like, you know, kind of been on United's radar, right?
Oh, really? Carlton Cole?
United, Liverpool.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
Carlton Cole.
But yeah, bro, I mean, since he came in, personally, I think Zola has done quite a good job, you know.
Yeah.
But what are your sentiments on the current West Ham side, based on what you've seen so far?
I think it's just mid-table at best. I don't see too much potential there. Like, Carlton Cole is one of those players where
right?
They see him as their top player, but I don't know how many goals is going to get you a season.
Yeah,
you know,
and I mean, look, bro, last weekend, you know, they took a 5-0 lead against Burnley, you know, and then contrived to let in 3 goals, you know, in the space of like how many minutes. So they're really shaky, right? And I think United have got to certainly take advantage of that, right? I think they don't look too solid at the back. Yeah,
but United will want to take note that they did score 5 goals. They did score 5 goals, and the United defense has been pretty shaky. Against Portsmouth, they weren't too convincing. So you know, it could be a tricky one. It could be a tricky one, especially away from home. I
gotta agree with you, but score prediction, man.
Score prediction. Let's see. I'll say 3-1 to United.
3-1 again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, last week was 4-1, but okay.
3-1.
Nice one, bro. I hope you're right. But from one tasty fixture to another, where Manchester City, bro, welcome red-hot leaders Chelsea. Ian, you know, City are eager to prove a point, you know, having drawn, like, you know, their last 7 matches. You know, and the Blues are in superb form. So I think this is shaping up to be some match, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the best, I mean, as a United fan, I think the best we can hope for is probably a draw.
Yeah.
I think with the kind of problems that City are having in defense, Lescott hasn't been reaching the heights that he did with Everton, where he was almost untouchable.
Kind of,
he was just everywhere. So he's gonna have to deal with Drogba, and it's not gonna. I don't see them being able to deal with all the attacking threat that Chelsea has. So I think Chelsea would nick it. Best case scenario, I think, for City fans, it'll be a draw.
Draw, yeah. Great stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Quick score prediction? I'm just curious, man.
I'm gonna go for a draw. I think, wow, City are so consistent, you know. So they're gonna keep up their drawing streak. So let's say 2-2.
2-2. Even if Robinho makes it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we know Robinho thought he was going to Chelsea, you know, to start with.
Yeah.
And well, wanted to go to Chelsea, and then thought he was going to United.
Yeah, exactly. The rumor was that he thought it was Manchester United.
Yeah.
They wanted to sign him, not Manchester City. Yeah. He's
But
not the brightest guy, apparently.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. But, well, he can play football, we know. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the City of Manchester Stadium this weekend. Bro, another interesting match takes us to Goodison Park, where Everton face Tottenham. You know, David Moyes' men are certainly struggling, right? And I think not so much with how they've been playing, right, but rather translating that into positive results, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't play that badly against Liverpool. They didn't play badly against Man United, right?
Yeah. I think maybe Moyes has to snap out of that mode, you know, where they've been past couple of seasons, they've always been just getting by, you know, dealing with injuries, you know, trying to slog on.
Yeah.
They have to go out and just
soldier on kind of thing.
Yeah, they have to just go out and enjoy the football now. Players like Yakubu and Saha coming back.
Yeah.
They have to just go out and learn to, you know, play with a smile on their faces.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time for this squad to.
I've got to agree with you that I think Saha and Yakubu, you know, if you look at the looks in their faces, they look like they are eager to play football, right?
Yeah,
especially Yakubu, who's been out, you know, for a pretty long time as well.
Yeah.
But bro, I've got to put your neck on the line. Can Everton turn it around this weekend against Spurs?
I think home or away.
At home?
They're
home.
I think they could. Spurs look a bit too inconsistent. A draw last week, I guess, was an indication of that already. And I think at the moment, Everton have a bit more than Villa going forward. I think they do.
Right.
Because, you know, in Villa, I think they can't rely on Bonlohor and Ashley Young to save them all the time.
Okay, I've got to agree with you there. I'm going for an Everton win as well. But bro, just before we bid you goodbye, you know, this week's Football Everyday Fun Fact is on the man whom we talked about earlier, whom Hull City will be counting on, in fact, you know, to keep them in the top flight, Jimmy Bullard. Bro, did you know that Bullard was originally a painter-decorator and only became a professional footballer at the age of 20, bro? 20. I mean, for a late bloomer, it's not too bad, right?
Painter as in like paint houses, right?
Yeah, I think that's
He's
what
not
it sounds
painting
like.
Portraits and stuff, right? Yeah.
No, I think that was Van Persie's parents, but...
right, that was last week. Oh, these artists.
But yeah, Bullard, we agree, you know, I think he is key for Hull. You know, he epitomizes their spirit and, you know, the way he's been playing. And
yeah, I can tell that he has that middle class, that working class spirit, that British working class.
That's right. But great stuff, bro. It's you know.